everybody and welcome to the channel, Bob Sales, this time's next year. So the VEVE Digital Collectibles app has just announced that they will be dropping a Darkseid collectible this Sunday the 25th of June, 8 AM PT, which of course is 4 PM UK time. But of course you know me, before we get into the drop article, let's get into the story, the history. Darkseid is definitely one of the baddest villains of all time. If Thanos is Marvel's ultimate villain, Darkseid represents the same for DC Comics. Darkseid was created by comic book legend Jack Kirby, and believe it or not, he first appeared in the comic Superman's Pal Jimmy Olsen issue 134 in a small cameo role. Darkseid actually first appeared on a monitor screen on the last page of this issue. This was before making his first full appearance in Kirby's Forever People issue 1. He then went on to play a major role in Kirby's Fourth World series, which includes Mr. Miracle and the New Gods. This was before transitioning into the larger DC universe. So to start off, Darkseid's real name is not actually Darkseid, it's actually Uxas. He was son of Hugo Khan and Hegra. They were both the king and queen of the apocalypse. Uxas/Darkseid belongs to a race called the New Gods, who are divided between the world's new Genesis and the apocalypse, which both of their planets, both of their worlds are pretty much like heaven and hell. Uxas was pretty much evil from the start. Of course he was raised this way. When his older brother Drax, no not that Drax,
yes. That is called a practical joke.
tried to claim the Amigo Force, the source of the legendary power, Uxas actually killed him and took the power for himself. This was what in fact gave Uxas his actual rock-like appearance. This is when he changed his name to Darkseid and took the throne of the apocalypse that would have been his brother's throne. The Darkseid's path nearly changed. It could have been different. Darkseid was actually nearly tempted away by a woman named Sully. She was a scientist who wanted to enlighten the universe, not dominate it. However, Darkseid's mother had Sully killed because she felt like the scientist was making her son weak. His mother Hegra's actions were effective in putting Darkseid back on the evil path, but the plan sort of backfired since Darkseid's first step was to kill his mother. Afterwards, Darkseid did actually take a new wife called Tegra, who he had another son with called Orion. Meanwhile, war continued to rage between the Apocalypse and the New Genesis. Eventually, Darkseid and the High Father, the new ruler of the New Genesis, they agreed on a pact in which they would trade sons and end the war. Orion was sent to the New Genesis, while Scott-free High Father's son was sent to the Apocalypse. Darkseid immediately banished Scott to the fire pits to be tortured for eternity. However, Scott did eventually escape and become the superhero known Mr. Miracle. Darkseid of course used this as an excuse to restart the war. In the New 52 universe, Darkseid's story was that he was not in fact god royalty but a lower class one in a world of old gods. Darkseid did actually manipulate the gods into turning onto one another. Uxas has absorbed the old god's power and become the new god known as Darkseid. Also in this version, the New 52 universe, High Father and Darkseid are actually brothers. And it was from there that the new conflict, that the worlds of the New Genesis and the Apocalypse were born. Darkseid's ultimate goal is to find the anti-life equation, which can be used to rob all sentient beings of their free will. This would allow Darkseid to essentially rule over all of existence. As far as evil plots go, that's about as grand as you're gonna get. Bolivian humans are the key to the equation.
I have turned 100,000 worlds to dust, looking for anti-life, looking for those who robbed me of my glory.
On that note, Darkseid has repeatedly invaded Earth and come in conflict with the likes of Superman and the Justice League, even succeeding a few times. Darkseid has appeared in the plot of DC media over the years, including the DC animated movie and TV universes, even making an appearance in the ongoing Harley Quinn animated series. Of course, Darkseid did appear in Zack Snyder's Justice League. He was also going to be appearing in a film called New Gods, which was directed by Ava DuVernay, but this was in fact cancelled. Now to me, the cancellation does actually seem that it was related to Darkseid being in his own program, own movie in the future. So there is still a possibility you will be seeing more Darkseid films. So that's been the drop history, that's been the story. Let's get into the drop details. So of course, Darkseid is dropping the 25th of June, 8 AM PT, which is 4 PM UK time. List price for this collectible is going to be 60 gems. And the edition size is actually going to be just under 2,000. First edition for public sale is going to be 41, and there is actually only one collectible. So everything you see in the video, from the standing to the kneeling to the laser beam, is all one animation. Now the bad thing about this collectible, it is in fact 60 gems, which I think is too much money. So personally, I don't think we're going to hit this one in the drop. I do think it's too much money. I do think this is going to go under retail, and I do expect it to go for 40 gems. Now about the collectible itself, the looks are not great, I must admit. Normally it's Marvel that have the problems with the looks wise. Whereas this time DC have actually outdone themselves and have actually made the worst DC collectible they could have made so far. And not only that, the skin itself, the helmet, the face, the cheeky grin what it's got on his face, all of it's not for me.
Anger born from a want that was not met.
If we could just move on to the...
Are you trying to fill an empty hole in your life, Harley Quinn?
Well, is this guy my therapist?
There are some holes that not even an army of parademons can fill.
Definitely not. All my holes are filled up to the brim.
As always, I've been your host, Bob Sales. This time next year, we will be millionaires. A peace.